Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Crypto markets dropping this morning precipitously and in tandem, and I'm going to show you exactly why. I'll tell you, unquestionably why. I am 100% certain that the reason we're seeing this drop is because of what I'm going to show you, and I'll share with you that at the beginning part of this video. And also, what's the XRP bull case? Well, you know me, right? I am Mr. XRP bull, very optimistic for the performance of XRP when it finally does hit that all-time high. It's going to enter price discovery, blast off into a new realm. That's my expectation. So although I don't make a price prediction, and I never have, I'm just verbalizing that I'm very optimistic, let's say, for the future of XRP, including the long-term viability of XRP based on currently available information. Now, of course, things change quickly when it comes to technology and finance, so I always reserve the right to change my perspective based on new data. But right now, my gosh, what cryptocurrency is more adopted in terms of actual utility than XRP? You'd be hard-pressed to find one, I think, anyway. But I want to share with you in one simple visual exactly why there's reason to be optimistic. Now, before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So at the time of recording this, XRP is at 38 cents. Bitcoin's down to $29,398. Market cap for the asset class down to 1.21 trillion. Bitcoin dominance, though, still hovering right around 46%. So yay for you, Bitcoin. Here's the crypto fear and greed index. Can't wait for this to update later today. It's at 13 out of 100, so market participants still in extreme fear, but this updates once every 24 hours. So it'll be updated again in another 7.5 hours. It's going to be lower. I'm gonna hazard a guess that it will be at least to some degree lower based on what's happening today. So why are we seeing lower prices? What's actually going on, Moon Lambo? Don't worry, Moon Lambo going to tell you. Gather around the fire, children. It's story time with Uncle Moon Lambo. Look at this headline from CNBC. Inflation rose 8.6% in May, highest since 1981. This news is the reason the prices dropped this morning. 100% certainty, and I'm going to prove my case. Piece reads as follows. Inflation accelerated further in May, with prices rising 8.6% from a year ago for the fastest increase since December 1981, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Friday. The Consumer Price Index, a wide-ranging measure of goods and services prices, increased even more than the 8.3% Dow Jones estimate. So as it turns out, folks, if you debase a fiat currency by printing it into oblivion, turns out markets don't really respond well to that over time. How many trillions of dollars have been printed? Which, by the way, is exactly why you've seen twice this year the Fed has increased rates, and that's in an attempt. At this point, it's a somewhat futile attempt. Not that it wouldn't literally have an impact, but it's too little too late, effectively. But it's their attempt to slow down the economy. Why would they want to do that? Well, it's simple supply and demand. If you increase interest rates, there will be fewer people taking loans and purchasing fewer things, so you can try and slow inflation that way. That's what they're trying to do right now. But in seeing just how bad the CPI is, again, the Consumer Price Index, markets are freaking out. And as I've said before, and this is crystal clear proof, I will continue to prove to you as the days, the months, and years, and so on and so forth pass, this is the case. Crypto, like it or not, is absolutely moving in tandem with other global markets, specifically equities, and equities are moving based on the news cycle like this. It doesn't matter. So prices down today has nothing to do with any sort of fundamental change in Bitcoin, has nothing to do with some sort of new fear factor in XRP specifically, but XRP's dropping because of this. And in fact, look at this headline from this morning. XRP price analysis. Choppy action continues as XRP loses 40-cent level. So, and this is from, I don't know, what time was this? What, 14:01? So that would be, what the hell time? Well, they're in a different time zone anyway, so I can't tell. But either way, the point is that this news came out after the CPI number. So take a look at the timing. This is where I'm proving to you that I'm right about this. Here's the actual U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics website. And you can see that this news dropped today at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. And by the way, this is kind of impressive. I thought I'd point this out for two just for fun. The CNBC article covering this published today at 8:31 a.m. Eastern time. 1 minute after the government, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, put this down, 1 minute, CNBC had an article on their website about it. It's just impressive how competitive news outlets have to be. So that means that they already had the article typed up, ready to go. They just had to plug in the numbers. They were waiting for it. The article already existed. They just needed the numbers to go with what they knew the narrative would be. And then it's out 1 minute later. That's impressive, okay? That's definitely impressive. So anyway, 8:30 a.m. Now, if you look at the price chart, here's a 24-hour chart for Bitcoin. You can see this is where the drop happened. What time is that? Well, it says 7:30 a.m., but that's because I'm Central Time. I'm in the good old Midwest in the United States, so I'm an hour behind the East Coast. So when you see 7:30 on your screen there, that's because I'm Central. But the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics dropped that news at that point, and bam, Bitcoin dropped. Has nothing to do with fundamentals and changing in Bitcoin. Global markets move in tandem. So you just understand this in a general sense. There is no reason, there's no logical reason to be fearful, yet this resulted in people in crypto markets being fearful, including XRP holders. It doesn't make logical sense. Throw that concept out the damn window, son. And so that's why I wanted to highlight this. I was like, I've been making the case for so long. Every time I have a new opportunity to do it, I'm going to continue to do it. Quell the fears. So I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold. There's no guarantee in any of this. I'm not pretending there's no risk, but damn it, folks. The movements of the herd don't make logical sense. It's why, like, to me, I just, in a general sense, try and do the opposite of anything. That's why my strategy is the most unsophisticated on the planet, because I don't know when the irrational herd is going to do what it's going to do. I don't know exactly when. I don't pretend to. I just know in a general sense how they behave, which is irrational, which is why my strategy is to just buy and hold, just literally sit around doing nothing. That's it. Because I think that over time, and history has borne this out, we got over 100 years worth of stock market history showing that it's been a dramatic trend up in terms of price. We got over a decade of the same in crypto, showing dramatic uptrend in terms of percentage gains, way greater than the stock market, obviously. And we're at the beginning of the adoption of this technology. Like this is going to continue to be life changing for those people that have the emotional fortitude, mental fortitude to get through this and to just hold. Right? That's what I believe anyway. I don't think most people are going to be capable of doing that, but it's the opportunity's there. That's an amazing story to be told. So that's exactly it. Unquestionably the case. Dropped at 7:30 a.m. my time, 8:30 Eastern. So stupid. Doesn't make any damn sense. And in terms of adoption, can we talk a little bit about adoption? Well, the answer is yes, because this is my channel, damn it, not do what I want. I want to share with you some thoughts from Will Clemente, who is a Bitcoin on-chain analyst. He's really just a pro Bitcoin guy. He's not like anti-coins. I haven't seen him being negative towards other projects out there, just in a general sense anyway. But he shared the following with his 639,000 followers, and some of what he's saying here is stuff that I've been saying for years, and I know to be correct. You ever heard me talk about a technology bell curve? Well, he's talking about an S-curve here, which is the same concept on a different chart. It lays out the information in a slightly different way. It's the same damn thing that I'm saying, and it couldn't be more true. And the reason I wanted to share this with you is to point out that we are on the early side of adoption, and that's where there's really an opportunity to achieve life-changing wealth. So take a look at this. Here's what Will had to say. And again, he's focused on Bitcoin, but the reason that I wanted to highlight this regardless, even though this is an XRP-centric YouTube channel, the market moves in tandem, folks, and there's way less money in XRP than there is in Bitcoin, which means that when things get going and the market continues to move in tandem, you're going to get a much greater, much more impressive multiplier effect for XRP. It will outpace Bitcoin growth. And to me, that could not be more clear. XRP from here on out should substantially outperform Bitcoin if you zoom out and look over a sufficient portion of time. But anyway, here's what he said. Bitcoin is an exponentially growing monetary network that should be expected to reach 1 billion active users in the next decade. All disruptive technologies go through an S-curve of adoption, reaching their main growth phase after roughly crossing the 10% threshold. So here's the chart for you, those of you that care to look, that he shared, representing an S-curve. And this is true. And so like here's what I've talked about, and it's delivering the same concept, the same information laid out on a chart in a different form. But you can see, well, here's what he's got. The innovators, so that'll be the first 2.5% of adopters. But then there are also early adopters. Anybody that's inside the first 10%, they're still considered early adopters. But then the next 40%, they're still early, but they're the early majority, but not the earliest of adopters, not the true innovators. They're tagging along with the rest of the crowd that's been there to that point. And then you got the people that maybe they're not quite as visionary. They're kind of a little slow when it comes to change. So that portion would be the late majority, the 40%. And then the bah humbug people that basically don't want to change anything. I'm setting my ways, son. Like that, those type of crowd. Well, those are the laggards. And those people do exist, and you're never going to get 100% adoption of pretty much anything. But this chart makes sense. So you see what they're talking about. As time passes, that's how you get this beautiful looking S-curve right here. Well, you can draw the same concept in a different way, which is a technology bell curve. I've highlighted this numerous times on my channel. There's so many you could just pick from. Maybe this is an easier one to see. It's the same concept, even if they tag different numbers on it, doesn't matter. It's just showing that as time passes, there's the innovators here, and then eventually you get to this point where, it becomes prevalent in society, whatever the technology is. And then most people have it, and then almost everybody has it. Well, that's going to happen in crypto. So the question is, where are we right now? I argue, as does Will, that we are super early. You are so early, you have no idea. Anybody that feels like they're late, no, you are incredibly early, and that's going to be highlighted as we continue to go through this. So check this out. Will continues. This is a visual of some major technological adoption curves, including the internet, social media, the smartphone, the automobile, etc. I made it big on your screen. If anybody wants to pause, feel free to do it now. Otherwise, I'm going to keep rolling because it's not relevant for me to sit here and explain it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. It's just there's a bunch of different charts for different technologies, and it shows the adoption curve for them. So you can see how they work. And then they had this blue line that kind of averages them out effectively. Well, it's a mean. It was a weighted mean, but anyway. Will continues. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin's user data. And folks, to be clear, this concept is 100% true of XRP as well. 100. This applies absolutely unquestionably to XRP. So here's what he says. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin's user data. And I put that full screen for those of you that look at your screens as well. He says, this is a visual of the cumulative sum of all unique entities, clustered addresses, that have ever existed on the Bitcoin network. And so you can see it's up to, well, here we go. So it goes back to the beginning of time, of course. It's the entire Bitcoin blockchain. And it shows Bitcoin price with this black line. Then this green line shows the addresses. So somewhere in the neighborhood of, 250 million? It's pretty impressive, honestly. Pretty impressive. And then he shares the following, because that's not the full picture, and I appreciate that he did this, actually. He said, and I'll make this full screen too, he says, however, we must also take into account the entities that are leaving as well. The chart below is a visual of all the active unique entities on chain. So he's accounting for, say, addresses that have just been lost, because you could, especially in the early stage, for example, there are all sorts of people that were mining Bitcoin magic internet money. This isn't ever going to do anything. Private keys on a hard drive, it gets lost or destroyed, or your computer fails and then you just chuck it. There's all sorts of stuff like that, in particular in the early days. So some was just lost forever. So point is, he's trying to highlight here who are active entities. Now it's still over 30 million accounts here. So out of the 250 million, about 30 million. So you can see, it's impressive if you look at the line. Whoa, that many people compared to 2011, 2012, 2013, way more people. But you're talking about a total population of somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 billion. 30 million is almost nothing when you have 8 billion people. It's like, it couldn't be more clear how early that we are. Anyway, and then he continues. He says, according to this data, approximately 0.36% of the global population are users of the Bitcoin monetary network today. And then he shared this chart. So look, there's been this estimate that something like 3%, I'm going from memory, 3% of humans have ever held cryptocurrency at any point in time. And you're talking about 0.36% are active. So it illustrates also there are people that came in, maybe they got burnt and they were just speculators not knowing what the hell they were doing. So they're clumped in numbers somewhere, but not in terms of active users. Doesn't mean they won't come back necessarily, because they're going to be like, oh, this persists. And then they'll just feel dumb for not having held from the beginning. But, emotional humans are emotional humans, which is why I talk about this all the damn time. And then there was this. Will Clemente also wrote the following. Projecting this growth out into the future using a mean and weighted mean of other historical adoption curves, this is what we expect Bitcoin users' growth to look like. Now, this is the cool thing. So this does come down to, and that's so fine, the concept absolutely applies to XRP. The question is, which cryptocurrencies are truly going to have long-term viability? If Bitcoin is, then yeah, the chart will look something like this. If XRP is, yes, the chart's going to look something like this. If Ethereum is, yes, the chart will look something like this. So it's true of the crypto asset class, but that's why I'm not pretending there aren't additional complexities. Of course there are. We don't know for sure which cryptocurrencies are going to, truly be long-term viable, but that's why I'm going to continue to monitor what's happening in the space. I do it literally every day because it's the most funnest hobby that I've ever had, frankly. That's why I'm running this YouTube channel. But you can see where we are. If you just compare, he's comparing Bitcoin here to historically what's happened. And where are we? We're at the bottom. So despite that impressive looking chart I showed you a moment ago where it showed 30 million plus active Bitcoin users, if you zoom out in terms of anticipation of where this will go, assuming that adoption for this technology continues historically how adoption for technology has unfolded. Well, look on your screen if you can. We're right here. We're at the bottom of that S-curve. See that? We're in 2022. We are the lucky bastards at the beginning of this that get to reap the most massive benefits if we don't mess it up. It's up to us. And humans, we are our own greatest enemy when it comes to investing because emotions drive investment for most people. They don't for me because I'm aware of this and I happen to have tremendous self-control. And I just don't feel emotions when markets go down. But I have all this data too. Like it's endless quantities of data to prove the point that I'm making here, which is it's stupid to emotionally respond to any of this. Doesn't mean don't be aware. Doesn't mean there aren't risks. Of course, things can go to hell in a handbasket. But in a general sense, I'm feeling pretty damn good. So you can look at, so yeah, this is a timeline unfolding in theory, past the year 2100. But still, do you understand if this unfolds, like historically you've seen the adoption of technology unfold, the next 1 and 2 decades, whoa, gonna be bonkers. Not that you even have to necessarily wait that long to achieve life-changing wealth. I'm not even saying that. But my gosh, there's gonna be no shortage of fireworks for the next decade or two, in particular. And certainly beyond that, but there will be a point where the adoption rate is like less consequential for certain individuals. But wow, what a picture that paints, right? And then he wrote this. I'll make this one full screen too. Will says, this is the ultimate bullish case for Bitcoin in one simple visual. Exponentially growing user growth juxtaposed with Bitcoin's pre-programmed increasingly deflationary monetary policy. So I already knew the concept before, but he did a good job of articulating this. And yes, he's talking about Bitcoin, but it doesn't matter. The argument is true. Pick your new technology. It's true. And so you look at, fine, here we were looking at the adoption of Bitcoin, but you could take the actual data that's available on the public, on the XRP ledger, because it's just public information, it's public blockchain, and you'd have similar results, no doubt. I mean, think about it. Talk about exponential growth. Several years ago, when we were leading up to the biggest bull run in XRP history, December 2017, there were little less than 700,000 addresses on the XRP ledger, and now we're approaching something like 4.2 million. So yes, there's exponential growth. Of course there is. And it will continue to look like that as more people jump into crypto, unless or until the world decides that XRP doesn't make sense as a long-term opportunity, in which case then it'll all just fall apart. But I don't see any sign of that happening. Do you? I just keep seeing more and more adoption. So when more and more people jump in, my gosh. And so that's why it's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent of humans that hold XRP today. Yes, life-changing wealth is a very real thing. And again, you got to be careful, make your own decisions here. I'm not pretending like there's no risk. I say it multiple times in videos where I talk about price, sometimes anyway. But I do that for a reason. I want to be a realist about this. Yes, be excited for the opportunity, but I want to just kind of have a reasonable approach when I'm talking about this stuff. And I think I do. But damn, just let me know what you think. I'll just wrap up there. I'll get off the soapbox. That's how I feel. I'll wrap up here. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.